Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Today is FOMC day. Let's start out grabbing the links. Here is the Twitch. Ooh, I have to scroll down a ton. Okay, there's the Twitch link. And I guess I'm going to have to come over here and do it this way. Yep. Guess I'm going to... There we go. All right, so right off the bat, they are buying. Interesting. I'm gonna try see if they actually come in with a trend or not. Overnight, so towards the end of the session, let's look this over. Charts. Towards the end of the session yesterday, you can see over here, E-mini moving down. So they had a pretty decent fall. Here you can see it even more clearly here. They topped off and actually ended the day lower. So today was potentially a reversal day. E-mini recovering a little bit. Treasuries moving up overnight though. I mean, we had that huge push down and then coming back up, and they're actually like trying to push up and beyond that area, which is very interesting. And then to see that strong buy impulse right on the open, that's interesting. Okay. But anyways, for context today, it is FOMC. So sometimes we do see strong moves. Sometimes we do see strong moves in the morning on FOMC day. So we'll see this first impulse is up. And they are absorbing at 28.5 too. Interesting. Very interesting. CNN will host John Hicklelopper for a 2020 town hall tonight. That should be interesting. Well, that 28.5 is acting fairly balanced, but they're holding an okay bid there. And the 5-year is like right on the edge. Actually, they're all three of them are right on the edge. So we might see a level break here potentially. Are they going to do a level break, or is it just going to flip on us? Oh, yep, there they do. They go for it. Pretty easy. They didn't have to trade very much to trade through 29. A strong bounce on VWAP, no doubt, at the start today. And when you see an impulse right on the open that's really clear like that, it's often a good indication that there's going to be some trend. Now that said, they broke a new high and they're kind of just chilling at 29. So I think that there's still a chance this comes back. They are selling the E-mini though. See if the E-mini goes any further. Good morning, Uzi. I almost got sucked into selling 146 a minute ago, but I got up to go to the bathroom instead. Oh, that would have been so bad. But I think it's usually, unless you already have a ton of profit locked in, it's usually not a very good thing to enter a trade like just before the open or just, right in front of any of those key time periods. So there was definitely somebody out there that came in today with the intention of buying it right on the open. Like they knew like that was their plan. Okay, when it opens up, I'm going to buy it. And they did it. I don't know if they want more, but it's very, very possible to see 30 half. The high from yesterday. 146 just hasn't been the funnest price this week. Oh, yeah. We've been there a lot, haven't we? Mm-mm-mm. Now the thing that I see though is the market has been expecting the FOMC to continue being dovish. So are they buying it up because they believe that the FOMC will continue to be dovish? That's one theory. But I also see that yesterday we had a red day in the E-mini. We broke a pretty long winning streak. It was a pretty clear reversal day in ES. There is reason to believe that downtrend could continue. Although, it's impossible to say, but I'm sure that there are probably a good number more people today that think that the E-mini is going to go down than there was yesterday. And so they could potentially be buying treasuries because of that. I mean, as we've been moving up, E-mini did move down, didn't it? Now that said, they broke a new high and now they're just chilling here at 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good morning, Voldor. Welcome back. Still pretty quiet for the most part this morning, like chat wise. Well, they're still willing to buy it. I don't know. Oh, that's weird. I saw a article yesterday on Hot Air that was saying from Beto O'Rourke that he supported, being what was the word that he used? Fiscally sound or responsible, and that it had to do with reforming Medicare to, you know, save the program. But now I don't see that story anymore. Had a pretty funny headline though. I kind of laughed when they posted it. Okay, that was a pretty strong uptick there. After having sat there for so long, and the E-mini is kind of like threatening again. Okay, so they're hitting into 29.5 now. There's a little bit of pulling when they're hitting it, but it kind of looks like there might be an iceberg there at 29.5. I think that there's probably some guys along from 27 or 27.5 that are going to want to take some profits there at least. I saw an article this morning talking about the Golden Cross on Dow Jones and how it came like 3 months after a death crossed. Well, sorry, what's this? Jim Dalton is doing an FOMC webinar at 1:45. Okay, that's a good thing. Thank you for telling us. Do you have a link for that, Voldor? I don't know if sometimes the chats, like the YouTube and Twitch chat, don't allow you to put links in, but you can just put like a space so that it doesn't recognize it as a link. Cool. Yeah. I don't know if I watch that, but I'll be streaming, but I'm sure that other people would like to have that. So he kind of wrote the New Testament, so I think that that would be a good thing for people to be able to see. Hmm. Okay, so they did put the brakes on a little bit there at 29.5. In fact, I'm seeing enough of a pullback in ZF to make me think that maybe I should be getting out here. There we go. Oh, he's got the go to our webinar link. Cool. Let me copy that link and paste it over into our Discord. Yeah, there we go. Just copy that over to there. Brussels will strongly oppose a British request to move Brexit to June 30th, arguing it would threaten the integrity of the European Union, according to a leaked paper. So that's a bad thing, right? Yeah, I don't think that's good. Okay, so they are stacking a little bit more now at 29.5, but it's not staying there. I suppose there's always potential for more, but it was just giving me just enough of a. It was being just flaky enough that I thought that I should just take the 3. And I'm kind of going to be stalking for another long if they give it. Because when they take a step back there in the 5-year, like, they went pretty far. Might come back quite a bit. Also, I'm seeing here in CB, there appears to be some indication that they're trying to flatten. Which may just be some mean reversion. Oops, there we go. Dodged a bullet on that one for you. Well, yeah, that would have been -7. And I mean, the thing with that sort of a thing is like you just get a buy impulse out of nowhere, you know? There's to my knowledge, at least, not really any way that you can expect that other than knowing that the open is coming up, right? Okay, so they ticked up there, and it's pretty. That was a pretty strong uptick. They sold it. Yeah, Susie says, yeah, you can really see it coming. More tariff cuts will likely come through free trade agreements and would also include industrial components for some key sectors, medicines and luxury goods, says Zhu Kaiyue, deputy head of the Foreign Trade Institute under the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Temporary tariff cuts already in place on U.S. made autos until April 1st, made as a goodwill gesture during trade talks, could also become permanent if a deal is reached with Washington, Zhu said. China had raised tariffs on U.S. autos 25% in the early days of the dispute. Okay, so that's good. That's really good. Let's see here. They're saying that sterling fell a little bit because of May seeking the delay. So those reports that we saw yesterday were true. Looking back at it with a positive delta for the day per NinjaTrader indicator and being above the VWAP, there really wasn't a reason to sell. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, wrong. You're right. We should change that. I'm very scatterbrained on that sort of a thing, so I totally forgot to switch it back. I mean, the charts are interesting too, right? It's not like not that there's anything like crazy useful on it, but Iraq is granted 90-day waiver to purchase energy imports from Iran, says State Department official. What? They can do that? It was the Well, I'd be careful about this one on FOMC day when it goes. It tends there's I've only seen it go two ways. Granted, I've only been around for so and so long, but I've only seen this go one of two ways. One, you get a really strong trend and distribution ahead of the FOMC, or two, it goes nowhere. Goes literally nowhere. So that kind of limits things down for us, right? I would not be looking for a significant reversal here, right? Maybe if it comes back on us a little bit, we could take another long. It does appear that they want 29 have to stay offer. They're having a hard time doing it, but somebody is trying. They're trying at the very least. The E-mini is still pushing lows. A little bit of absorption there right above 28.36 though. See, I'm just looking at this and thinking, okay, well, by the way, I should get rid of these. If I was still long at 28, what would I be thinking right now? And I think that I would be really concerned about getting out at 29.5. And I would be thinking, okay, maybe it goes forward, but maybe I should get out at 29.5. And I would be really scared that it's about to come down 2 ticks. And that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. That 29.5, you know, they've taken it offer aggressively a couple of times, you know, like they sold 2,000 and stacked 2,000. Now it's stacking almost to 3,000. E-mini is moving down, but it's like, you know. Actually, I have a good number of people watching this morning, so thank you guys for watching. Might be. I mean, the thing is, if that's all the trend that we're gonna get, and I'd have to say, well, I think I could give them another 20 minutes to see if they're gonna do it, but if I don't see more trend before the top of the hour, then that may be an indication that they're not going to do a whole lot more. And then probably we're going to need each other to keep each other from doing anything stupid, right? Because they're probably going to do tons of things to make it super tempting. Okay, well, there was a decent buy again in 2K stacked. I definitely caught a good exit there at 29.5, and I'm extremely unsure if it's going to go up or if it's going to come back a little bit. One thing I am seeing is that the 30-year ticked up more than the 10-year. You can see here. And there was flattening on the long end of the curve between ZB and ZN, but not on ZNZF. Although when I look at my chart, there is just kind of a slight overall flattening in the past day in the short end of the curve either way, but so maybe some people taking some bets. Another thing I should point out is that the Japanese yen has been coming down a little bit. I should get an indicator that it's like degree of correlation and add those to like my 6J and stuff so that we can see. And the E-mini especially. But when I look at it with the E-mini, I'm thinking more, you know, when this ticks down, do I see the level 2 here change? How much are the robots paying attention to the E-mini? So maybe it wouldn't help. Trump's sanctions and OPEC supply cuts are about to push oil prices higher, says Morgan Stanley on CNBC. Apple announces AirPods with Apple-designed H1 headphone chip. The wireless charging option will cost $200. What the heck? Okay. I don't think that would be worth that much. My payment for the live license was rejected and I had to do it manually, but now Jigsaw doesn't recognize my live account. Oh, dude, that sucks. So it doesn't recognize your new live license? That's kind of weird. Are you running into the there's this weird license issue with Jigsaw that where like you can only register it to 3 machines, and if you want to install them, like if you change your motherboard, for instance, or you get a new machine, the first thing that you should do is go into Jigsaw and unsubscribe that computer from the license so that it doesn't use up one of those when you go on. It may, and I don't know, having it switch over from like month to month or something like that could totally affect that. Uzi says try restarting Jigsaw and Ninja Trader. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I would I would restart them, but I would immediately send a help request through the Jigsaw dashboard, and they get back to you very quickly. So they know what it's like. UK Prime Minister May says an extension of Article 50 does not take a New Deal Brexit off the table. Right, but how long are you gonna just delay it for? Like, what do you think? I don't know. Well, I have to say, now that we are bid at 29.5 again, and Monday that happened to me, I couldn't switch to my live account. I restarted both and it fixed it. I wonder if I can test that. Oh, okay. Why do you get block sell / buy? So the way that I set that up is over here in my tape in the settings. You can set in here, okay, reconstruct trades and say that a block trade is 3,000. So that's what I have it set to is 3,000. And then over here in alerts, you can tell it block trade alert. And then it will, here's the audio. You can even set it to something custom. So they are hitting into 30 again. Anyways. Oh, and you can also get it to print on the Vista chart, I think. That's like a newer thing. I don't even mess with that. Digital shot taking is short now. Not sure I understand that trade, but he's done okay in the past, so let's see what happens. I'm just gonna kind of sit on my hands here. UK's Corbyn calls for voters to be able to reject deal. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's Brexit fatigue. Okay, so they did sell it through 29.5 again, but there's a pretty thick bid at 29. I think that I am getting my signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So normally when I get that signal, I would be going short, but I do not trade it when it is at the high of the day or the low of the day. So, but the signal says that they're going to come down to at least 28.5. Wait, what? Donald Trump said that he's the husband from hell? Oh, he did say that. I didn't even read that. George Conway, often referred to as Mr. Kellyanne Conway by those who know him, is very jealous of his wife's success and angry that I, with her help, didn't give him the job he so desperately wanted. I barely know him, but just take a look, a stone cold loser and husband from hell. Wow. Okay, so like that's obviously, if I was Donald Trump, I would not be attacking one of my employees' spouses. That's pretty crazy and ridiculous. But at the same time, if I was Kellyanne Conway, I would have divorced that guy's ass already. Because here you are, you have a national position in the president's administration, and your spouse is actively subterfuging that job, and he says that it's so that he doesn't so that it doesn't come out in their personal time and this and that, and I say, if you and your spouse disagree on something that fundamentally, you're probably not very well matched. Poland's Europe Minister Konrad Szymanski reacts positively to Prime Minister May's proposal, saying it does not create any institutional difficulties for the EU 27. That is a merit of this proposal. Poland will respond to the British proposal in a material and constructive way. So we've had at least one member saying that they like the extension idea and one member saying that they don't. Oh, you didn't. Okay, I got you. Yeah, Lucas says I since the payment changed my license, I have to load it into DayTrader. Yes. Okay, so at 29 there was 6,000 at one point, and now there's 46. So the support there has softened a little bit, but it's still like really uncertain. E-mini still looks weak, and it does appear to be pushing us up a little bit. how come I did not get the little sound? There's some Russian numbers coming up, but they're not. No big deal. The only thing on the docket for this morning, of course, we have FOMC later in the afternoon, but the only thing on the docket for this morning is the crude oil inventories. So now you have to trade? No, never have to trade. Now, what's this? Somebody commenting on one of the YouTube videos saying that beta was worse than AOC. I don't, the whole Beto O'Rourke thing, I think is going to be really interesting. I think in the long run it's going to be very interesting because honestly, he's just got a very I mean, he seems to me to be pretty liberal, like more liberal than Barack Obama. But I think that everybody's impression is that he's more moderate than Barack Obama. And there's been this veneer put on by media, I think, is where it comes from, that he's a very likable guy. And I think that what's going to happen is that the liberal base, that the activist base, that is, doesn't like him because they know that he's not. He doesn't seem to be like on their side. They think that he's just pretending to be really liberal, even though. And that's why people get this impression that even though his policies appear to be liberal, everybody thinks he's a moderate. That's what they think. And they're just like out there to destroy him. And so I don't know if that holds through and, you know, the base just destroys him, or if I think that there's a possibility there that he starts doing well and like really catches on. He's gonna struggle apologizing for being a white dude while culturally appropriating his name and trying to convince people to vote for him over women of color. I mean, I don't know. If it turns into Kamala Harris versus Beto O'Rourke, I think that's definitely what happens. But I know it sounds silly. I mean, I really don't like those kinds of politics, but just based on the things that I've seen in the past, that's you're 100% a possibility. It's probably too easy to make too much of a conclusion. I think though, so one of the things is that Kamala Harris, in part because of demographics, but that's going to be all about identity and racial purity. I don't know about that, but the thing is that Kamala Harris, she has the demographics on her side. She is a minority, but not only that, but she is smart, right? I mean, if you go and watch her responses in media inquiries and things like that, she is pretty clever person. She's quick on her feet. She answers the media questions effectively for the most part. She's a shrewd tactician in the way that she's responded in the Senate. So she has like the tools necessary to excel in a primary. Now her problem is that She's she slept her way to the top apparently. And I think that if they really get into that, that is like a crazy bad liability. Um, but other than that, I think she's a really strong candidate. And if I was on the left, you know, let's just assume for a moment that I was a leftist, that's probably the person that I would be going for, because um other than that one liability, she probably has the better set of tools to win a general election. Because if you put, like a Biden up there or an Elizabeth Warren, then it really does turn into, do people hate Donald Trump more than they hate the Democrat Party? And the calculation that I would be making at this time is that they don't. I think that Americans are more concerned about socialism than they are about whatever stupid stuff that Donald Trump says every day. You know? Yeah. These people are running on reparations and stuff. Yeah. That to me is pretty crazy to be seeing a presidential candidate supporting, but I don't come from that side of the aisle, so I don't know how. I don't think that my interpretation and perspective of it would be very accurate. To me, it's crazy though that we would be paying people money just because they're black, and there's family history. I mean, how are you going to do that? Are you going to say you can only get the reparations if you can prove that your ancestor was a slave? So then, like Irish people, they could also get reparations. Like, how would you do that? And where's that money going to come from? And how much money actually would that be? Like, it just seems like ridiculous to me. They can put us to a point where specific identities benefit at the expense of one identity. As a white person, voting left is objectively a long-term strategic blunder. Yeah. Well, there's definitely this thing where, you have different groups and they can be based on, I think that the economic groups are much more powerful in American politics than any kind of ethnic one. Like the whole Occupy Wall Street thing, right? There's a lot of people out there that haven't really been able to participate in the recovery, don't really understand the capitalist system because they've never had an opportunity to participate in it, right? I think that group has more power than any kind of. They blame people on the right for the rise in identitarian politics, with the irony being they're the ones that are pushing. Yes, I agree with that. I mean, that's a little bit more my personal opinion than I prefer to get into, but the left is not helping. Yeah, the left is obsessed with race. And normally I wouldn't want to get that deep into my own personal opinion, but it concerns me because I feel like with this shooter, like, it's a dangerous situation. I think that the governments correctly understand, and that's why they're trying to tamp down on it. Like you hear this? Like in New Zealand, a guy faces potentially up to 14 years in prison for posting a link to that shooter's video. That is just insane. But it's because the governments know that there's like a real danger of people following up with what this guy did and said. And the left is not helping the situation. Like when you see something like that, I think that your response should be, oh, let's not let's not participate in that kind of politics anymore because it is causing real harm and we don't want to radicalize people any further. And yeah, it's almost as though the people on the left know that it's going to radicalize people and are doing it on purpose. I kind of wonder sometimes. Yeah, I agree with you. You want to radicalize people, shame and censor them into oblivion. 100%. I mean, let's I mean, I have to temper that a little bit because I really don't think that that video should be shared 100%. Okay. Like I read that guy's manifesto that he wrote. That thing is fucking evil. Like, that should not be shared around. That should not be shared around. But I think that if you're a government, you definitely want to do everything that you can to stop the spread of it. But trying to strong arm people by prosecuting them is probably not the right way to do it. Just my opinion. I'm not a government expert. I don't know if there are experts on that sort of a thing. I hope there are. I don't think it should be shared, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. So the thing is that I've seen a few mentions of, the manifesto in media. Mostly the only thing that I've seen about it is that they say that it talks about Donald Trump, because there is one section where he says that because they ask, or he asks himself the question, is he a supporter of Donald Trump? Did he do this because of Trump? And he said that or do you like Trump is, I think, the question. And he said, as a symbol of white, well, how did he put it? As a symbol of white unity, yes, but as a policy maker and leader, oh, hell no, is what he said. And that was the only thing that I saw in the media that they said about it. But that's because the media correctly understands that the rest of the document is dangerous. It is like an instruction manual for other people to continue his work, is essentially what it is. It's fucking scary. Like make no mistake, that thing is one of the most evil works of all time. Like I put that thing right up there next to Mein Kampf. Like it's literally that dangerous. And just because it was a right-wing guy this time doesn't mean the left can't see themselves in him. Well, yeah, totally. Why do people associate Donald Trump with white? And didn't you know what he did before 2016? Why now? Simply put, look to the media. Well, I agree with that. I think that's what the shooter was probably trying to say too. But I don't know about that. I'm not a mind reader. But I do agree with the notion that this whole racial politics thing that's going on right now was unnecessary, and that people manufactured it and made it happen because they wanted it to happen and not because it's a real problem. I'm sure that there would be people that disagree with that, but that's the thing. Well, I tell you what, it is now good 20 minutes later, and we are still at 29.5. In fact, it has been in this zipper now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 bars. So this could reverse really hard, but I've never seen it in that range for that long. That is definitely not something that I'm going to mess with. Oh, how did I? Yeah, so I bought 28 and sold 29 and a half. And I bought 28 because I saw the buy impulse on the open. And so I just went along with it, knowing that on an FOMC day that you could get a decent amount of trend. And then when it started going, not going any further at 29 and a half, it took it off. Oh, thank you. It wasn't an amazing trade, but it was okay. Given now that, oh, okay, they finally did tick down. There you go. I don't think I've ever seen a zipper that long. That's really bad. Yeah, that's really bad. But they did finally do the downtick at 29. Decent amount of volume doing it too. We could potentially see, I think the 5 year is probably a better spot. So 0.25. I don't know. Anyways, I think that there needs to be something like, I wish I knew more about these sorts of things, because I feel like that there needs to be like an anti-mass hysteria task force or something like that. Because I'm glad I'm not seeing a whole lot about that thing anymore. That's kind of why I feel a little bit more comfortable talking about it. Um, but it does feel like that people have calmed down a little bit. But I just see so much stuff out there that seems to me to be um, making such an awful situation so much worse. And I don't want to see more people die, you know. But that's what we're looking at, and people are playing into it. And I think that there needs to be more people out there to help, not only to try and influence the discussion, not through coercive means, but just people that know what they're doing and support each other, to get on social media to kind of help people understand what the safe ways to respond to this sort of thing are, and to tell policymakers what are the best ways to respond to this sort of a thing. Because if we don't, you know, we already had the shooting and a response shooting from it. Now I don't want to see any more. Nobody does, obviously. But do we really know enough to, you know, there needs to be a task force so that we can figure out what the best way is to handle these sorts of things so that we don't have like a fucking Holocaust or something like that. Not that I think that that's what's going to happen, but I mean, that's the risk. You got to be careful. Suffice to say it, lol. So what was I going to see here? As long as the media keeps pumping identity politics into people's eyes and ears? Well, there's a problem because it seems to me that humans have a natural tendency to be affected by tribal politics for sure, right? But I also believe that if we're conscious about what's going on, that it can certainly be countered, especially with something like this. I mean, the whole reason that we have, that especially in the Western world that we focus so much on World War II is because that was very much caused by tribal politics. And so we have that in the back of our minds because we're saying, I think that we're trying to say from the history, this is a problem that humans have an issue with, and it's probably going to come up over and over and over again. 19, that's the longest zipper. I've done a study. I did a study and I back tested it. And I'm pretty sure that 19 was the longest one. I could be wrong. Maybe we've seen 20 or more, but reversing with ES at the center of last 4 days, it seems everything priced in. Yeah, you mean you did move back up and the treasuries came back down. But people cannot think critically about things. When we've been watching, as we've been talking about this, I've been watching the viewer count and I keep seeing it like go up and down. So I'm wondering if our friends are spying on us. The well, the thing is it's the social media thing, right? Like, I think that social media has kind of wired our brains, and I don't think that I'm an exception either, because I love to post on Facebook, and I can certainly, when I get on about a subject, I just want to post and argue with people about it. I think that social media has rewired a lot of people's brains, and I don't think that we realize it. And I don't think that we realize that, like, the effect that it is having on the discussion, and how much we're reacting to it and how bad those reactions could really be. Everyone seems to be easily influenced by everything. Maybe. The thing is I wonder, is everybody really so stupid? Or I think that would be a person's natural tendency, and that the natural fallacy would be to say that everybody's dumb. Wow, so now they are pushing below the VWAP. Well, given how much it fell, there definitely would have been a trade opportunity there. And my zipper setup. So the thing with the zipper setup is I say if it's 11 ticks, then it's likely to reverse. If it's more than 16, then the probability flips again. It being that long, so I think in that situation you can take it, but that was an indication that you could go short. And maybe there was some other stuff that could have said that we could have gone short, but I think I'm happy that I just stayed out of that. Like, that would be hard to go to fight against. But Digital Shot took it. He took it short at 29.5. People aren't skeptical of politicians like they used to be. Now people worship them. That shit's scary. Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. I agree with that. I don't know. It just goes back to this whole thing that it's like I look at things and I have like this certain impression, but like my own experience in the world says to me that there's like the probability of that impression it being that simple is really low. It's like to me, if you're on social media and you're directly praising a politician, I understand people do that when political campaign is going on and you want people to vote for your politician and everything. But honestly, should never really, if you actually believe it though, like you really think that politician X is actually like the greatest ever, like then you're dumb. And here's why, because politicians aren't their own people, right? Politicians are intrinsically connected to the constituents that elected them. Like that's the way that the system works. You kind of have to disassociate the person from the politician at some point, you know? And I don't think that a politician should ever be deserving of worship, right? If they make a good law and they do a good job, then we praise them. When they don't do a good job, then we criticize them. But they should never be. There should never be like a you know, worship them like a cult, like some people with Donald Trump. I always kind of thought, when this whole thing started, and like the people on the Donald will call Donald Trump the God Emperor. I thought that was a funny joke, and I think that part of the joke was that is the way that the liberal media treated Obama, and they were mocking it. But now when I look at that subreddit now, I'm not so sure that everybody understands that was initially intended as satire. Because there are some people that really do worship him like a god. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be, when he makes a good policy, we should praise him. And when he makes a bad policy, we should criticize him. And we should understand that the politician and the person are different. And that we should always be suspicious of the politician. Because they don't necessarily have your individual best interests in mind. And it is your job to pursue your own best interests through the political system. That's how it works, is everybody pursues their interest. And when everything comes out, the end result is the one that ends up being in the best interest of the majority of people, and therefore the best interest of the country. And then we're a constitutional republic to prevent things where, that doesn't work, where a majority gets over and would take over the rights of other people. Just like this reparations thing. So they're gonna they're gonna tax us and then give that money to other people. Like, this is not constitutional. Obviously, it's never going to happen. I don't think that these politicians would actually be saying it if they thought that it was actually even likely to happen. On the 5 occasions dots were lowered, the S&P 500 rallied an average of 1.8% in the week before the meeting. Yes, that's coming from UBS, and yes, we've seen that. Well, this FOMC, so let's get back to the markets if we could. This FOMC, I think, is going to be particularly interesting, because I've seen FOMC meetings where in the 2 or 3 days preceding the meeting, there was a very, very strong trends. And I've seen FOMC meetings where it didn't really move at all. When there was a strong trend, there ended up being some takeaway from the meeting that the market was somehow able to like predict. And the ones where it didn't do anything, it was like uncertain and, whatever. Well, this week, we have seen strong trends, but they've been in opposite directions. So I don't know if that means that like there are two separate groups out there now that seem to think that they know what the result of the FOMC meeting is, and one of them is going to be wrong. But I think that if there is any kind of surprise in the meeting, that you could have a really strong, volatile move. So this meeting was going to be a good one to watch. I mean, I thought the last one was going to be like important, but then the last one kind of ended up being a dud, didn't it? Well, when the debates come along, that's when it's going to become interesting, because once it's in the debates, you're not just talking to your base anymore. People in general elections see that, and that hurts you in the long run. And Bernie probably doesn't care about that sort of a thing. Elizabeth Warren, because she's so far behind, she probably will go full bore, because that's the only way that she stands the chance. But the rest of them, I think, are going to have to be sitting there and thinking, maybe I shouldn't say things that are dumb. Cockpit voice recorder from doomed Lion Air 737 reveals frantic struggle to stop nosedive. That's fucking scary, dude. Can you imagine? I mean, my wife's a flight attendant, right? Can you imagine the plane has gone into a nosedive by itself, and you don't know why, and you're trying to fix it because some computer is doing something that it shouldn't be? Wow. It just sounds terrifying. Well, it's a good thing that they grounded the plane then, isn't it? France. Only possible Brexit deal is one that has been agreed between the UK Prime Minister May and the EU 27. Okay. Well, I don't know. Now that we've had this move up and move back down, like I was saying earlier, like if we get a bit of a pullback, maybe we could take it long. But the way that happened, I think maybe if the E-mini makes a move here and the 30 minutes of it's open, we could take something. But otherwise, I think I may just sit on my hands the rest of this session until the equities, until FOMC. Did they pierce? Okay, I guess they did pierce the VWAP. I mean, the thing is, when I look at where it is in all three instruments, it's at the VWAP in all three instruments, even though the VWAP line was much more steep in the 5-year. So I think that gives you a decent potential for a VWAP bounce, but given the context of the action, I don't think that this is action that I would really like to trade. Okay, well, there's a E-mini is taking a real nosedive there. Okay, and it recovered. So far, the cumulative delta is not completely clear yet, although I think given the way that Treasuries just moved up there might be some more downside. That was definitely like a big surge of sell orders came through, and then the Treasuries immediately ticked up. Went from maybe that 27.5 being balanced price to now 2 ticks higher. They just took 28.5. Prime Minister May spokesman, clear Prime Minister's firm belief that long extension not the right way to go. Prime Minister spoke to Juncker on phone about letter asking for delay. Wants to bring third meaningful vote as soon as possible. Says it's up to the speaker to determine whether we have come up with something substantially different for a new vote. No plans to extend implementation phase. So that strong surge of selling orders that came through in the E-mini was what may have been related to the Brexit headline there. There was like a bunch of headlines there, and I don't know which one correlated with that move the best. So there's another selling impulse, but that time the treasuries didn't really react. Alligator says, I don't think it's about Brexit. It seems to me selling flow at cash open. That may just be the case, true. France says if Parliament rejects next vote, it will pave the way for a no-deal outcome. France says a technical extension could be considered to complete legislative work in event vote is passed. I see. So they're saying that the UK needs to do something first, and then we'd give them more time to like accomplish the thing but they'd actually have to have something that can go. I'm thinking about this in the E-mini, like, oh, I would have liked to have sold that. But then I remember that I have trouble around the open. So obviously taking that short wouldn't have been a good trade for me. And then the trade that we got before the E-mini, which is the one that I like to take, probably would have been kind of, to nowhere. So yeah, I'm not really seeing a good opportunity for myself at the moment. Hmm. Well, they are getting, you know, maybe they want to go up and break a new high. Could do it. I would like to take it long. Like when it was at 28, I was thinking maybe I should buy it, but I think that the context is just too, I'm just not sure. So, if I don't really know, shouldn't really take it, huh? I know that's not interesting, but okay, well, that E-mini looks like they really want to go for those lows. Must be my wife. I was like, what's that weird sound? But she must be up and like listening to something on her phone. Bum bum bum. Not quite a new low. Okay, they touched it. Wow, they fought back there really hard. I've probably still goes through, but there was definitely definitely something that swept by up there. There it goes. That one was kind of interesting because it was just kind of a little trickle. Hmm. The 29 is actually the weak price here. Now that we are up here, a large order has shown up way below us. Where is that? At 17.5. Is there? No? Okay. That's really curious. You see that right there? So that we're actually moving up, and then this showed up. That's really odd context for it. Hmm. Bitcoin's been pretty quiet too, even though they've been selling. It seems like the futures guys are all getting out. It's pretty thick up there at 29.5 and 32. Much, well, 78. That's much thicker than this. I wonder if you can actively go short on that or not. That new low was not, I don't know. I think that obviously there's always there could be a good opportunity for them to go for it again. But that initial low in the E-mini was not all that big of a deal. It just kind of a little bit of a trickle, and now they're back up. Maybe they take another push and really push it down. I feel like I've been sitting too close to the microphone. I don't know. You can hear me okay from back here, right? Because I feel like I'm leaning in and I want to, as opposed to back here. European Commission tells its member states delay Brexit until May 23rd or until December 31st, but not June 30th. The precise thing May has asked for. Why June 30th? What's the deal with June 30th? Is that just too far? Will you stream FOMC? Yes. I'll come back here for FOMC. I'm going to work from home today. And we'll stream for, the first hour of FOMC for my lunch break. Oh, the yield on the 30-year is 3%. Apparently. Wish there was an easier way to calculate what price would be which percent, but I don't even have a way to look at that on my platform. Will you place a news order? Probably not. The thing is, I've had some success in doing this sort of thing where I'll put a stop limit on either side of it, for instance. But the problem with that in this kind of a news piece is that there's a really good chance that it could go zoop and then down and hit my stop, or hit both of them. You know what I mean? And I think that this FOMC, it's going to take them a little bit to interpret which way it's going to go. It might not be like immediate. And there's been so much back and forth going into this. It seems to me like that the market doesn't really know. There's not firm agreement on what is most likely to be the outcome from it. So it's probably going to be better to let it go first, and then when some liquidity comes back, try taking it. Because you could get like one of these sorts of things where it goes like, yep, yep, yep. You know what I mean? You seen those before? That's never fun to be caught in that. And if you take a stop order and you buy it here and then you get stopped out here and then you try going the other way, you know, like you can just get really screwed over in that kind of action. I mean, there are times when you can trade the FOMC, and if we see a clear signal, we could still take it. But I'm not going to leave anything on the DOM when the announcement actually comes out, right? It showed the swoop move, yeah. I don't think that I reset these ones and not this one, and I think that this one should be back down here, so that's fine. I'll just reset it. Now that was an interesting downtick. And the big order that was up at 30 is now at 29. Are they really going to try and move it all the way down to that big order down at 17.5? When it showed up there, I was a little skeptical at first. Like, why would they put that there? But now that I've seen the action, it seems to fit in a little bit better. I don't know though. When I saw it, I thought, okay, maybe here at 29 or 29.5. I wasn't sure what price it would have been at, but I thought maybe there could be a sell. Now that it's at 27.5, I don't think that it's in the right spot. Risk reward rise. Just because the last low pivot was 27. So I don't think I can take that. And 750 is probably not quite the right time. And we're just gonna have to let it play it out a little bit and stay alert. Mexico's President Lopez Obrador says the United States government is open to reviewing steel tariffs. Schrodinger's forecast this time from Goldman. While we do not expect the median dot to show another rate hike until 2020, our own forecast continues to call for a rate hike later this year. Okay. So they think that their forecast says that there is going to be one rate hike, which is what the FOMC has been saying. But their own personal opinion is that the FOMC is going to turn more dovish and say that there's not going to be one. Fitch says it's possible we are all underestimating the impact of China's economic cycle on global growth dynamics. So far, it's just not like there's been what appears to be strong trends, but they just really don't keep going, have they? I'm a little wary though of moving into like a counter trend strategy though. Especially with the E-mini sitting here going through a bear flag. Potentially. Could potentially be a bull trap here. I see the equity traders saying that it's just choppy. And the oil traders. Well, they're kind of, maybe they're going to try and take 29, but a pretty thick order there still. Yeah. They take away from it, it's stacking pretty hard. I mean, it has potential for a trade. I gotta watch it to see if I see something fishy. Fitch cuts 2019 global growth forecasts to 2.8% from 3.1%. Senior German official says delay of Brexit until European elections is not problematic. Aha! So the reason that they want to delay it that long is to get new leadership in the European Union and potentially get a better deal. That's what it's really about. I think I understand now. Well, now it is 86. So if the council paper is correct, it's a little more relaxed than the EC. There could not be any further extension without the EU ripping up its legal order. So no way back from Brexit on the 30th of June, no other options for MPs than her deal or no deal. Hmm. Okay, tick up a little bit pulled. Only about 1,029. German Foreign Minister Maas, there will be a decision tomorrow on the Brexit extension. Tomorrow. Thanks. Let's just drag this out another day. Oh my. Okay. So the E-mini just had a super crazy move down. And okay, what's Bloomberg saying? Is this breaking news? Oh geez, Bloomberg. You know what, Bloomberg? They said breaking news and it was an article about dogs. The only thing that I see that can even be remotely considered news was just that one that I read. German Foreign Minister Maas, there will be a decision tomorrow on the Brexit extension. Okay. So downtick and it's stacked back up to 76. This one might be worth taking because that was enough of a flush in the E-mini that there could be some reversal. The narrative that Beto has never taken any substantive policy positions is pretty wrong. He has said quite a bit about the issues in his run for Senate last year. He was also in Congress for 6 years. He was in Congress for 6 years? I thought he was only in there for one term. Okay, so this 29 is not stacking as much as it was before, but they are backing off of it a little bit. And the E-mini is definitely trying to make a recovery, although it hasn't affected the cumulative delta yet at all. FedEx is talking as if a global recession has already begun, and the numbers back that up. Says Zero Hedge. Just checking on you guys on YouTube. Just make sure that does look like the restream chat isn't necessarily always putting out what it should. I would already be trying to play the range, but I am afraid, being FOMC, this could go either way at any time. Yeah. Not just FOMC, but like Brexit headlines and the volatility in the equities. We could definitely see all sorts of crazy. Although the crazy thing is I was thinking about going short at 28.5 based off of what was happening at 29. It never gave me quite a clear signal that it was going to have to go and do something. And then the E-mini just like the bottom fell out. Yes, it's all confusing information. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's lots of noise. I'm sure that there probably is. There probably could be something in here that would be actionable. But, you know, I'm not seeing it. But sometimes it's better to just stay out. I think that this action, ever since we first broke the high, the overnight high, you know, since then, the action just hasn't been very good. So it's better for us to sit on our hands and save. You know, I got a good 3 ticker that just saved the ammo for the FOMC, right? Well, it is 8. It's past 8 my time, so sometimes we'll get a good one here in this next little time period, so I should keep an eye out here. The thing that I'm going to watch out for is if there's a reversal in the 8:15 to 8:30 time period. Now I should See, I'm not seeing this stack here at 29 again. I have to say this pullback in the ES is not inspiring. Sure. Nope. Well, that's probably the spot I should have taken, but I don't know if I want to take that. I think I'm wrong here. Yeah. It's okay. I want to keep this like this just because, so that I know what I got for the FOMC. Well, whatever it was that saw me that made me want to go short in the E-mini, it definitely was not a thing. I'm still not seeing the, I don't know. Like maybe you could get short here 28.5, but you can see that the 29 is not stacking up as high as it was. It might be like a reverse signal though. Might be that they don't have it up there anymore because they don't think that they're going to get filled anymore, and so we're going to move down, but things change all the time. Normally when I see like the 86, that's like a good sell. Okay. Well, now it's right about back to where it was. That was 29 for me. It's crazy that that was the bottom of it. Huh. It looked fine at the time, but now when you look at it, it couldn't have been worse because even with it coming back, you'd just be getting half. You'd just be breaking even. No, I need to leave it open like this. There we go. Okay, so they finally hit into 29. There's an iceberg there. Did end up trading 7K. Now it's going to go down and do what I wanted on my short. Good grief. It goes. Now that they're through that 29, I'm not seeing any significant changes in the DOM. But I suppose that they're free to go up and try a new high. Especially if the E-mini really goes down for a new low. I'm suspicious, though, we're getting some delta divergences again. Well, it's being really quiet. Well, not really quiet, but after what just happened, I would think that they would be a little bit more anxious to try for the low, and they're not. Last couple days were the most bullish. Yes, and yesterday was a reversal day. So you still got a pretty good chance of short. Okay, 29.5 pulled. Uptick didn't go. Given the difficulty that we had jumping out here before, and now it's doing it again. But maybe they break out this time. Hmm. I should just buy it here, then it will for sure go to a new low, right? You can get 2 ticks off of it and not do it. Come on. Look at that. Alligator. Oh, the fairly rare alignment of a supermoon and spring equinox happens tonight too. This will be the last supermoon of 2019. Interesting. So they did make a new low by like a tick, right? So it's still imbalanced. Brannigan Barrett. My thoughts for the FOMC today. Only thing that matters is the Fed median dot for 2019. Markets are pricing rate cuts to start early 2020. Either Fed acknowledges this and turns guidance from neutral to cutting, or they maintain data dependency and a hike is still an option in 2019. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I think, there could be all sorts of things that we don't consider that could be in the statement. So, and now 30 is pulling. He wants us to buy it. CB back to high. What do you think? Should I sell it so that the equities index will go up? That's what I should do. I should just only ever sell equities. And that way they'll always go up. And then I can single handedly, help the economy. Zero hedge, all you need to know about today's FOMC decision and how to trade it. The market is definitely watching this. I normally do not see this many people making kind of a prediction for how to trade the FOMC. Well, I haven't seen that reversal yet, but the cumulative delta certainly says that it's possible. Oh, we did trade a new high there. Okay. Huh. They're having a hard time even convincing them to go for the low, and they're 2 ticks above it. Okay. There it goes. Hmm. So they made a new low, and they still didn't make a new low in cumulative delta. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Let's do that one. Hmm. Kind of interesting the way that the treasuries are sitting up there like that. They seem to be really on edge. Okay. So what does that put it at when we add this back up? Cool. Well, I think that that initial trade that I took, that gave a real head fake on us. So I don't know if that means that my signal was actually good and I just happened to catch the wrong side of the thing. Oh, there you go. I could have actually gotten my full 8 ticks, I think. 28, 25, 50. Yeah, was right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I would have gotten filled. Okay. Wasn't sure. It was okay. It's okay, but let's just keep that in mind for next time. Um, but anyways, that one, it immediately went against me. I didn't have any favorable excursions. So I think that there might have been a problem in my execution there. I think we need to look back at that one and see what the deal was. Because it just seemed like it went against me like right away. But then it almost immediately reversed and then did go and do what I thought. So I don't know about that one, but this one I think that worked really well. I saw the new low was an overextension, and I saw the cumulative delta had equaled, and I saw a spot, and I took it, and I almost immediately got a rush up, and I could have gotten 16 ticks out of it. So I'm really happy with that one. Now, with that all said, treasuries have not really quite come off yet. Ooh, that 29.5. They like that price today. So I'm going to try and draw a picture of this so that they can see. That was a good trade. Cool. Would have been worth 16, if not more. If you take 5 times 4, it could have been worth 20. Cool. Well, I think I don't think that's the best trade I've ever taken in the E-mini, but that's definitely the best one since I've done this. Yeah, I think I got a little nervous there when it came up. I should have held it. But I think it was like, since I've started to mess with it. I saw a webinar and they view the UB DOM. Do you ever use it? So I do have one up here. Where is it? He's hiding in the background. Sometimes I have to like minimize other charts. Oh, wait, there it is right there. So not only do I have put up UB, but I put up ZT sometimes too. I think that there are some things that you can see. Can you see those? Yeah, you can. But you know, like I only have so much room. So I think that there are things that you can see in UB that you might not see in the other ones. But generally speaking, UB does pretty close to what ZB does. So it's kind of like, you know, I think that everything can be useful. So it's kind of up to you to decide which things are the most useful, because you only have so much screen real estate, right? So at some point you have to pick and choose. You know, like one of the things that's been weighing on me recently is if I'm going to trade the micro futures, probably going to want to have the E-mini and the micro futures up, and probably the micro, well, not the micro, but probably the E-mini Dow and the E-mini NASDAQ futures too. So that might mean that I have to get rid of this stuff up here, but I kind of really like the Vista chart. I think maybe I only like the Vista chart because it looks cool, but like I find the Vista chart really useful, especially if I want to show somebody else something, because that's a graphical representation of what happened. I'm going to send you another monitor. Well, I could buy another monitor, but then that gets into the like I'm running out of desk space. So I have 3 monitors. So I have the main monitor in front of me, which is a big like 2K one. I think it's 27 inch. And then I have 2 small cheap ones that were just kind of like lying around. I don't even remember where I got these from. And this one I put all of the chat and streaming stuff on. And this one I put all of the charts on. So the thing is if I was going to add another monitor, I'm still only going to be able to stream one screen. So what should I be putting on this screen? Should I put all of the DOMs here, and it should just be DOMs, and then I can put the vistas up above that. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, get a monitor arm. Well, and so there's the other problem is that so this monitor is a Asus P7G something such and such. So it's like the high refresh rate, but it's not an IPS monitor. Okay, so I would want to get one that's as big as that. But then I have speakers, like studio monitors, that come off the side of the main monitor, essentially, right? For when I do music. Not that I do that a ton anymore, but I still from time to time do music. And so if I get a second monitor and I put them like side by side, they would cover up the speaker. And the speaker has to be at a certain height so that it hits your ear, so that you're in the sweet spot. So if I was going to do that, I would have to like stack them on top of each other. And I'm just not sure how I feel about that. You get what I'm saying? So the other thing is I should really get a bungee arm for the microphone so that we can just always have the microphone like right here. And then I can probably turn the microphone volume down a little bit and maybe the birds won't be so loud and stuff. But I digress. Wow. So there's a really big order at 28.5 now. That is extremely unusual. That is one of the biggest orders on the DOM I've ever seen. Like if that was 13K at the high of the day, I would be like, what? But to see it down there right at the low, right below the last pivot low or last swing low, that is nuts. That is extremely unusual. Let's move these back down so I can see the mini. I run 4 stacked, 2 on each side, and an arm, and occasionally a 52-inch TV. Man. Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe I could like, well, I don't know. There's just not enough space. Because once you get these monitors, the monitors are just in the way. I think that in a perfect world, probably the solution to it would be that I would really need 2 workstations, one for music and one for trading and gaming. But I'm not going to go and dedicate a room to another machine. That'd be ridiculous. Maybe someday, 15 years from now, when the kids are all gone, I will turn their playroom into a studio. But until that time, that is a nutso order. Well, I think given the context that we made some new highs, we came back and it showed up there and we've bounced off of it, that you would want to buy. But that's super fishy. If I'm being honest, I don't necessarily need it all, but I accumulated it back when I was trading Forex and believed I did. I gotcha, yeah. Well, I had a friend and he, so like the thing is here in Utah, we have like a Goodwill store called DI, Deseret Industries. Yeah, bots pointing out that it's a 14K. That's huge, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm lucky that I've gotten away with what I have today. Why is it not I don't have anything open. This thing down here in Jigsaw is not showing me correct numbers. So it should be like 96, 96. There we go. Oh, it moved. Jeez. I think that you buy that one, but it's super fishy to me. I mean, that is monster. That is a monster. Do you DJ? Also DJ, yeah. So these headphones, let me tell you about these headphones. So these are Pioneer HDJ 2000s. Oh, they sold it a little bit. Let's see what happens. Anyways, they're HDJ 2000s. And I bought them back in like 2009. And back then they were like the new thing. And Pioneer hadn't made a new headphone in a long, long time. And their headphones before these ones were not even half as good. All right. And these ones came out and it just blew the water out of like absolutely everything. And all the DJs were like, that was the thing that like everybody wanted. But they were like $300, $400 or something like that. Well, at the time, I was in New York for job training when I got hired at Goldman Sachs. So like when you get hired out of school, they take you to like an out of school training that they do for all of their college recruits. And it was like, I think it was 2 weeks that I was there. It felt like a lot longer than 2 weeks, but so, I was in New York and they would pay for you food. They gave you like $50 a day or something like that to eat. Right. And I mean, New York, it can get expensive and they wanted you to like, party and have fun. Like that thing, it was literally like, oh, especially these guys from Europe, because it was like everybody. So even the people that got hired in London, oh shit. Okay, so they just traded down through it and only 39.79 traded. So yeah, I'm glad that I didn't buy that. They might reverse. Let's see. I don't think I want to trade this given that it's 8:45. I'm staying home today because FOMC, and here in around between 9 and 9:30 I'm gonna have to go and start working. But normally I wouldn't be taking a trade after 8:30, so I'm not gonna take a trade after 8:30. But that was a big monster order. Anyways, so they give you like $50 a day. Well, like food is expensive in New York, especially if you like go to a sit down place, it's like $20 or whatever, to eat at a nice restaurant. It was a lot. They didn't tell us that they were going to give us that before we got there too. So I had like saved up a bunch just to make sure that I would be able to eat. So anyways, they give you all of this food and I was just like, well, yeah, but Subway is still $5. So I just would eat at Subway and pocketed the food money that they gave us. And then I saved all of that up and I bought two things. I bought these headphones and then I bought a pair of jeans from Armani Exchange that were like $300 that just for the sake of splurging. And they don't fit me anymore, but they were fucking awesome pants. I got to tell you what. Oh, they were awesome jeans. So that's how I got these headphones. And now it's been, 10 years. And you can see that like the padding on them. This is supposed to be like micro leather covering has completely come off. And they're supposed to be like, what is it? Memory foam ear pads, but they don't really do that. And you can actually replace that part, but they don't even make that part anymore because since then they've come out with even newer, nicer headphones. So they've seen they've seen a lot of action, and I played a lot of shows with these headphones. And when I first got them, everybody was so effing jealous, because those kids, like, for me that was a lot. Like when I first caught the DJ software, so I just started out with just the software, and I didn't even have a mixer. And there was like a deal at Guitar Center that day, and they had announced it like at the last second, and it was like that day only. They pulled the hell out of that, right? That was super fishy. Anyways, and so like I was like, oh, this is the deal I've been waiting for. I can get like $50 off, and that is just enough that I can afford it. But my wife, my ex-wife, my wife at the time was not like home, and she had the car, and we only had one car. So I literally walked across the valley to make it to Guitar Center before they closed so that I could buy it. Right. And, at the time I had just been working like basic jobs, like programming jobs that were like entry level jobs, didn't make very much. So I didn't have very much. By. But for me, but compared to a lot of the other DJs in the area, that was like, I was balling, having like a $15, $20 an hour job compared to most of the DJs was doing pretty good, right? So to then come in with those headphones, they was impressed. But once I had them, it wasn't long before everybody else decided that they absolutely had to get them. But that's the way it was with almost all of my equipment. Because I also had a Zone 92 mixer, and on that one, that mixer is worth about $900, I think. And somebody listed it with a slight spelling mistake in the name. So I was able to buy it on eBay from some guy that didn't really know what it was for like $400, I think. And then I decided that I wanted the new thing to try and save some desk space, which I think it did kind of save some desk space, but not really. It's over here, and there's not enough room for like that and like like my mouse and keyboard and like a music keyboard and like a fight stick. Like I have too much shit. I just have too much shit. But anyways, so I sold it back on eBay and I made $1,000 on it. So I actually flipped that for $500. And it was just like, that was like that with all of the equipment. I always caught it. I always waited for the best deal that I was ever going to get. Well, they traded through it and it pulled and everything, but now we're back up above it. By the way, oh, that's interesting because that big order was at 17.5 at one point. So does that mean that somebody went short at one point and they thought that it was going to go down to 17.5 and it didn't? And when it came back up, they said, okay, fine. And when it came down here and moved back up, then it said, okay, I want out. And so he moved it. Is that what happened there? I mean, that's one theory, except for that 15K didn't trade there at 28.5. That's interesting. It's super fishy. Well, FOMC day. I'd have to say, though, most of that pulled, that's when you report to the exchange, guys. If you traded that and you lost money, you should report that to the exchange. Or to the CFTC. Let's say you tell them that you lost money. Yeah, or maybe a Stred, maybe a 210 playing a flattener. That's a good point too. Was there anything in the ZT? Not that I can tell anymore. Maybe if there was a Vista chart. I don't think I have it up. Oh, actually. Okay. So we're down here, and it moved up. Maybe it was a steepener. I don't know. It's hard to say. No, it was way down there. Fat finger. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's super weird. What's he saying? I forgot you were watching that smoke and mirrors indicator of yours. Yeah. The thing is they went down, and since then we have moved up. So I don't know what to make of it. Maybe he pulled it and converted it into an iceberg order and like split it up between multiple prices and stuff, and he caught it as it came down there or something. You know what I mean? Because you can see here they moved it up, and then he moved it up again, and then they went through him, and now they are back up and above where he bought. But again, it could have been a short trade, like they thought it was going to get down here and they got out. Who knows? I can't. And it's way past the time for me to trade, so I can't. I'm not very good at trading this time period. I don't really know what it's going to do. But it was sure interesting to watch, wasn't it?
Block sell.
Oh, there you go. Block sell at 30. Oof. Okay, so they're still typing. I'm interested to see what he's going to say. There were several big orders at 29 half after, so I don't really know what happened there. Yeah, that sell was significant. My my deltas are showing that that was like based on uptick and downtick. That was the biggest sell of the day at 5K, and yet they haven't been able to get it to tick down more than a tick. And there's a ton of big orders in the ZF too. They're definitely setting up something. Okay, well, so I'm about to go in and post the notes, and then if you guys got anything you want to talk about, I'll read those before I go. One last thing I did want to mention before I go, though, guys, because I've been getting some private messages from people with all sorts of crazy stuff that they say is going on. And the only thing is, of course, I love hearing about that sort of a stuff, but you probably should not be telling me if somebody is on Discord harassing people or trying to harass our server, or they are, bullying or doxing or anything of that nature on another server. You should report that to Discord. And they have a safety and trust team that you can report that sort of a thing to. If somebody on another channel is doing that sort of a thing, you can report it to YouTube. If somebody is doing something that's illegal, like purposely passing around false information or trying to trick people into trades that they know are bad, or trying to front run other people's trades, you should report that to the CFTC, because I can't do anything about it. But if you have firsthand knowledge about that sort of a thing, you should just report it. All right. Okay. So now that we've said that vague thing, I am going to start typing here. They just keep adding to that OBV on Zen, though. Difficult to ignore. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we're still just kind of like at that same price, so I don't know what it means. Anyways, it's time for me to get going with my day. Would love to sit here forever, but I will be back for the FOMC. So about 15 minutes before the FOMC. And I'll still be sitting around in Discord if you guys want to, if you got questions you want to chat. So I will see you guys in a few hours, and in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.